Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha, and my son is Cameron, and he is 20 months old now. Before I get into our story, I just want to thank Elisa and Miranda for inviting me to share and speak and share Cameron's story. To give you a little background before I get started, I'll start by telling you about our family. I'm from a small town in Alaska and moved to Arizona about 10 years ago and currently live there with Cameron's father, Ryan, and our two daughters, Vivian, who is 10, and Paisley, who is 3. Cameron is my third and youngest child. My oldest daughter was born early with a small complication, required surgery at 2 days old with a short NICU stay, which was a traumatic start. My second child was born 5 days post-term with no complications. So by the time I was pregnant with Cameron, I felt like I truly had experienced both ends of the spectrum. Cameron was born 3 days after his due date, and I felt like everything was normal. We welcomed him on July 16th, 2024 at Honor Health Scottsdale Shea Hospital. I had a very quick delivery, so quick that my doctor wasn't even there. But it was completely okay, and because everyone is happy and healthy, and I was fully soaking in the newborn moments already. Our second morning in the hospital, someone came in to do his newborn screening test. The woman doing the test let me know what it was for and mentioned that most people never hear about this test, and that if anything was positive, that the doctor would let us know, and the state would most likely contact us as well. And then she smiled and told me that no one ever hears anything normally. I remember thinking in that moment that this was something that happens to other people. I didn't feel like it would be our story. A few days after discharge, I took Cameron for his bilirubin recheck. The pediatrician called me the day after that, let me know that everything looked fine, and advised to schedule the next appointment. At that next appointment, Cameron was now 10 days old. The doctor said they needed to do the second newborn screening test. I again asked what they were going to be testing for and what they were going to do if anything was found. He reassured me that it was just for rare things, and if anything was found, everyone would know, and he would contact me right away. So again, I told myself, this won't be us. On July 31st, around 5:30 p.m., I received a voicemail from the pediatricians telling me to call him back. It felt unusual, but I assumed it was something minor. I attempted to call right back, but the office was closed. The next day I tried reaching him, but of course he was out of the office. However, he did call me back and left another voicemail around 6 p.m. Again, I tried calling back, but they were closed. After listening to that second voicemail, I knew something was wrong. So that's when I logged into the patient portal to message him. And that's when I found 3 uploaded documents in Cameron's portal. The first newborn screen, the second newborn screen, and a fax cover sheet with bold letters that read XALD, with a comment below indicating that this was now the second abnormal screening. I remember feeling completely mentally paralyzed in that moment. As someone who always has a plan when things go wrong, I couldn't even form a thought in this moment. I just wanted someone to confidently tell me that everything was going to be okay. I told Cameron's father, Ryan, and he actually didn't have anything to say at that moment, which was very unlike him. So I called my parents, then my siblings, one after another, trying to tell them what I had just found. Everyone was empathetic, but I could tell that they were all struggling to process the news while simultaneously trying to find the right words to comfort me. I remember feeling the lack of confidence in each of their voices, and that broke me. After staying up very late that night, reading everything that I shouldn't have read about ALD, I woke up the next morning and followed the instructions on the newborn screening document to contact Phoenix Children's Genetics Clinic. That's when I hit my first hurdle. I was told that they would not schedule us without the referral. This wasn't an insurance issue, it was their clinic policy. So I offered to send them the newborn screening results myself because they were the only pediatric genetics clinic in our state, but they told me that they wouldn't accept that. So for the next 3 days and back and forth, I worked on getting that referral. On the third day, we were finally able to get scheduled and seen they had received it. Oops, sorry, I skipped a slide. So during that appointment, I was given very basic information of cerebral ALD and told that it's something I passed on to him. But it wasn't really explained in a clear way that the disease wouldn't progress. It felt like the diagnosis was just dropped on me without clear explanation. I asked about treatment, and the first response that was mentioned was how difficult approval would be. And I remember immediately getting upset because I didn't ask about insurance or how much it cost. My mind was in fight or flight, and I needed a sense of security in that moment. I was already overwhelmed, and the way the information was delivered added another layer of fear and uncertainty that I would have to navigate through alone. During that same appointment, the geneticist asked me if I had eaten a lot of peanut butter while I was pregnant, and ironically, I did, so I said yes. She let me know that eating peanut butter while pregnant and breastfeeding can cause falsely elevated results. I felt so much relief hearing that. I clung to that theory and convinced myself that this had to be the reason. After retesting, we learned it was not a false result, and then further genetic testing confirmed Cameron's diagnosis, as well as mine and my mother's. I was later told that my brother should be tested, and they told me that if he's healthy, Cameron most likely will be. And my brother tested, his results came back negative, and at that point I was done for testing family members for right now, or for then. At that point I only wanted to hear a clear and confident plan for my son. The way the diagnosis was being communicated lacked clarity and a plan for what came next, so I pushed for a referral to Boston Children's Genetics. And even that process wasn't straightforward. I had to figure out which department to contact, find the correct address, track down referral, fax numbers, and follow up multiple times just to make sure the pediatrician received the referral. It wasn't necessarily difficult, but it was a very heavy mental load to carry while navigating through uncertainty just a few months postpartum. But that decision to go to Boston ended up changing everything for us. In November 2024, I met with a geneticist, and the entire tone was different. He explained that he had seen many children with ALD live happy lives. He gave us a clear monitoring plan, including MRIs, and he eased all of my nerves. For the first time, I felt a sense of clarity and control. And I remember thinking, if I have a plan, I can handle this. And then everything shifted again. A few months after meeting with the geneticist at Boston Children's, Cameron began experiencing serious medical episodes, including vomiting and what we were told at the time was an adrenal crisis, and later seizures. We found ourselves in the emergency room 30 plus times with conflicting opinions, unclear diagnoses, and no coordinated plan of care. There were multiple times that even chief doctors were openly disagreeing with other physicians in front of us and to us. And at that point, we made the decision to return to Boston to establish and maintain with all other specialists there. By continuing to rely on fragmented care locally, we were allowing misinformation, inconsistency, and gaps in communication to continue. And that was just not something that we were able to tolerate for Cameron right now. Another big challenge while going through all of this was the insurance. I had to fight almost every inpatient claim, of course. I learned a lot. I learned how to read my policy, file appeals, challenge peer-to-peer reviews when they didn't use appropriate doctors, like an OBGYN, request external reviews from state regulatory boards. I learned that who my plan was regulated by was actually the state of New Hampshire, ironically. Another one, I learned how insurance can use loopholes by rewording things and calling pre-authorizations different things to bypass federal healthcare laws. Eventually, I was able to get all of those claims resolved. We are still navigating this today. Cameron does continue to still have seizures. We've completed whole genome testing, which was inconclusive. We're still searching for answers. But through all of this, there is one thing that I want to be very clear about. I'm incredibly grateful that we know about ALD, because knowledge is power. We can handle hard, we can handle complex things, but when families are not given the information on time, when they need, they're not able to make a plan, and they're set up for failure through no fault of their own. The hardest part of this journey wasn't just the diagnosis, it was navigating a system that at times felt like it wasn't built for children like Cameron or families like ours. Newborn screening gives families a chance to prepare, a chance to act, and a chance to fight. And for that, I will always be grateful. Thank you for allowing me to share Cameron's story. I just wanted to add that I shared his blog, so there was a lot of pieces missing from that. So I did share his blog for anyone that resonated with that and wanted to follow along. Thank you.